The date is July 9th, 8:30 p.m. This will be a Watch Him Trade webinar hosted by me, Kevin Kleinman, in which I answer a question that was submitted by a subscriber. So the question I received was somebody asking, how do you make a leap to being a full-time trader, and how do you know when you're ready? What are the steps to take? What are the main ingredients that go into it? I'm going to answer this question with two kind of perspectives. What I know now and what I knew then. Then being when I decided to make the leap to being a full-time trader myself. I'm going to start out with the what I know now, what I would recommend, how I would answer this based on my experiences to date. To me, there are six main factors that go into deciding to become a full-time trader. 6 ingredients, if you will. The first is savings. You must have, in my opinion, at least 2 years worth of living expenses saved up in a bank account that you can fall back on if you lose the money you are trading with. Because knowing you have money saved up will allow you to think about your trading goals much more clearly. And this is important because this could be different for all of us. The person that has a family to support, their savings, their 2 years worth of living expenses is going to be a lot more than the college graduate who isn't getting a job and he's been following the market the last couple of years and he's tempted to kind of take this plunge into the market, versus the man or woman who's just married in their 30s but doesn't have kids yet, so on and so forth. So these are all going to be subjective, but the first key ingredient is savings. You have to do this knowing that you have enough money in the bank saved up where you're not going to be worried, hey, if I lose this money, am I going to have to move back in with my parents or call a friend for a loan? You don't want to even think about that as a possibility, which is why having savings is so important. The second is displayed ability. Displayed ability. You have to have shown yourself an ability to be successful. This can be very, very subjective. You might want to wait for a track record of many years in a row of profits on a net basis, or maybe you only want to wait for a few months of profits. For some people, it might even just be a couple kick-ass trades, in one really good month where they're just feeling themselves and they think they're ready. I'm not going to tell somebody what ability they need to see from themselves, but you have to have shown yourself some type of ability to generate profits trading the style that you plan on trading when you become full-time. So if you haven't displayed some signs of success, then you can't trust you're making a smart decision. And don't confuse what I'm saying. I don't think you have to be making money every single week, week in and week out, have all these profits. That's not what I'm saying. You can have some losses in there, but you have to have displayed to yourself enough ability where you say, okay, I'm doing this kind of part-time, but if I was doing it full-time, I'm confident that the ability that I have shown myself, would dominate over some of the struggles I've had with some losses. The third ingredient is loss aversion. You have to have gone a period of time, again, the period of time will be subjective, without a big loss. I'm not saying you can't have losses, that's going to be a part of it, but you have to have gone a period of time, even while you're doing this part-time, where you haven't blown up your account. I'd say probably 8 out of 10 traders blows up their account at some point or another. But do you blow it up again, and so on and so forth? You have to have shown yourself an ability to avoid those major setback type losses. The fourth factor is passion, obviously. You can't go into trading full-time to fulfill your wealth desires. You can't know a friend that's making all this money trading and say, man, well, I could do that. No, it's not the way it works. You're trading full-time because there is nothing else you enjoy doing more, and you've already done it before. That's how you know you're passionate about it, okay? You wake up in the morning and there's nothing you want to do more than turn on the computer and watch these stocks move and take notes on them and look at charts and watch level 2, all that good stuff that we're doing every single day. You just love it. You eat and breathe that stuff. Number 5, and this is an underrated one, but is support. The most important people in your life, your wife, your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, or your mom, your dad, whoever it is, they have to be supportive of your decision. If they're not supportive of your decision, you might subconsciously feel a need to prove them wrong. Prove to people that I made the right decision. And what that's going to do is it's going to lead to irrational decision making and maybe financial losses you simply can't afford. Support is very important. You can't be getting into fights with people about why you're making this decision. You need their support because they're going to be the ones that help you out when you're down. And then lastly, the one that we hope to never have to use but is important is a backup plan. You need to know that if trading full-time doesn't work out the way you want or expect it to, you can fall back on something. And again, this is why savings are so important, because it might take some time to transition to your backup plan. Maybe you have a bachelor's or a master's degree and I can definitely get a job. I just don't know how long it would take me to get a job. You're going to need savings to allow you to transition the 5 months that you're unemployed and don't have any income since you're not trading anymore because you lost your trading money. All right, so you have to have a backup plan. Maybe you're a college student that's dropping out of college and you need to know that you can go back to college. That might be your backup plan. Or you can go work for a family business, something like that, just some type of backup plan. So those are the way I see things now with my experience of about 3 to 4 years doing this full-time myself. Next, I'm going to go over every ingredient that I just discussed and apply it to my own train of thought. Go back to when I was 19, 20 years old making this decision. So I was going into my junior year at DePaul in Chicago, and I had been trading, on the side in class, and when I didn't have class, I was tracking the market, but definitely not a full-time trader. I was doing it part-time. I don't even know if I had a legitimate platform or anything, but I wanted to start doing it full-time. First of all, with savings, I did have a good amount of money saved up. I had been refereeing basketball at the time, and I was planning on becoming an NBA ref. That was my goal. I didn't really want to finish school anyway, and I was doing pretty well at refereeing. I had acceded to some Division II, Division III stuff, and felt like I could become a Division I referee within a couple of years if I kept at it. And for those that don't know, Division I referees, those guys are getting paid $1,500 to $2,500 a game. So, you referee 40 games in a season, and you're doing all right. All right, so I did have the savings aspect down. I felt like, all right, I could drop out, I can do this, and I don't need mommy and daddy to put money in my bank account. I'll be all right. Second, displayed ability. Whether lucky or not, I had some penny stock trades that had just worked out awesomely for me. And, I kind of felt like, all right, if you did this full time, man, if you're able to really track these things, you could make some serious money. So I had felt like that I had shown myself some ability and that I'd show myself even more if I just had more time. Now the third one, loss aversion. This is the one that at the time I could not have told you it was an ingredient. I had never suffered a serious loss when I was making the decision to drop out of school and trade full time. I never envisioned myself having a big loss. But I can tell you, I blew up my account 2 times. One time trading SLV when it was like crashing in May 2011, I think it was. Either May 2011 or May 2012. One of those sounds about right. And I just blew up my account. And it was the first time I blew up my account. And then I blew up my account again in 2013 trading Apple options. So 2 times within a period of like 15 months. However, I haven't had a big loss, what I would define as a big loss relative to what I'm trading, since April of 2013. And I honestly don't feel like I'm ever going to have that type of major setback loss again. I really don't. So, but that's the one that, I would tell people now, knowing what I've gone through. But at the time, I didn't think about it. So if you haven't had that big loss, that's good. But I would also consider, what have you been trading? How have you been trading it? How often have you been trading? Okay, because maybe you're only trading a couple $1,000s. All right. I'll tell you, I never had a big dollar loss before I started doing this full time, but I had certainly had big percentage losers. But I missed the connection between, hey, Kevin, you have a big percentage loss. You're 19 years old, trading part-time. Here's a big 50% loss. Yeah, you only lost $300 because you only put in $600. So it's not a big deal. Well, guess what? I didn't think about it the right way. And when I had some bankroll, I had $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. Now that 50% loss was a $35,000 loss. And you better believe I thought about it a little bit differently. So you might not have had the big loss yet, and you might be thinking, okay, I've shown myself good loss aversion, but think about it in terms of percentages, all right? Think about it in terms of percentages. If you have suffered really, really big percentage losses on small dollar amounts, that's not a good sign for you in terms of making that leap, and I would be careful. I would work on that still. The fourth ingredient, support. This is another one that, I really didn't have the blessing of my parents when I dropped out of school. And I'm not going to place blame on anybody but myself, but I feel personally that I was trying to prove some things to my parents, to my friends. In particular, I had a lot of friends that thought I was making a bad decision. And looking back in hindsight, I think some of the things I did that cost me money at the time was probably because I had the wrong intentions. Instead of trying to get better for myself, I was trying to prove other people wrong and show them that, hey, this is what I'm capable of, and it backfired completely. So I didn't have that support at the time, and I wish I did. But along that line, my girlfriend now is extremely supportive. We talk openly about my trading and about successes, about struggles. There was a day 2 Wednesdays ago. No. Friday. Last Friday, I lost $50, small amount of money, right? But I was very, very annoyed with how I traded. And I was able to talk openly to her about it. And, she doesn't understand a word I'm saying, but she supports me. And she says, well, that's fine, just fix it. Just realize what you did wrong and get better. And I don't know that I'd be able to bounce back the way I feel like I bounce back these days without a support to lean on like her in my life. So, it's very important that the people around you understand what your goals are and what you're trying to do so that they can be supportive of that. Because if you're anything like me, I personally like venting and sharing stuff with people who know nothing about trading. Because when I'm talking about trading, I don't want somebody, and this is just me, but I don't want somebody who's going to be like, oh, well, you should have done this, you should have done that. No, I just kind of want somebody to listen and doesn't really know what I'm talking about. I'm just going to get to kind of hear myself talk because that's just the way I am. The fifth ingredient, passion. I can tell you now, I had the passion. I had the passion when I was 10 years old, 11 years old. Talked with my grandpa about it all the time, and I just loved stocks. I loved it. So that was never a question for me, but it's very important because that's what keeps me practicing. That's what keeps me watching film. That's what keeps me staying in on a Friday night and a Saturday night, is I want to get better at trading. I don't care about going out to the bar, hanging out with friends. My friends, and again, this ties back to support. My friends don't take it as an insult when I'm staying in on a Friday night, not going to so-and-so's social gathering, because they know Kevin's about his business. He's trying to get better. He'll hang out with us in the future once he's done doing what he needs to do. The sixth ingredient, backup plan. This is another one that I didn't really consider. I figured you're going to drop out, you're going to do this full time, you're going to do it, and that's it. You're going to be good to go. You're always going to have success. Looking back, I suppose I could have gone back to school if I wanted, or I could have started refereeing again, but that's something that I didn't really give a lot of consideration to, that if I did this all over again, or if I'm telling a person, hey, this is how you should do it, I would tell them, really think about that backup plan. Write down some ideas that you can fall back on and navigate your way through just in case it doesn't work out. So those are the 6 ingredients that I have. Again, the key is savings, having displayed ability to yourself, so you know that when you do it, you've got it inside of you. You just need to bring it out. You've seen it before. The third is loss aversion. The fourth is support. The fifth is passion. And the sixth is having a backup plan. Any questions regarding that? Alright, I was asked to repeat them, and I'll write them as well. Savings. To me, I think you need at least 2 years worth of living expenses set aside and saved up. And I honestly did have that when I dropped out. I mean, I was 20, not paying $700 a month for rent, which maybe is a lot to some people, but it's not a lot at all here in Chicago. So my living expenses really weren't that much, but I still had like $20K saved up, which I can tell you was a lot more than many of my friends had saved up at that age. Alright, second is displayed ability. You have to have shown yourself some skills. You had to have made a trade where you thought, man, I think that was actually kind of a good trade. If I understand what these people are talking about, I think I might have just made one of those types of things that they call a good trade here. Right, the third is loss aversion. Losses are a part of the game, but you can't be having those setback losses. I feel I haven't had a setback loss since April 2013, and that gives me confidence moving forward. The fourth is support, having a support system. You need the people that you love and your friends and family around you. You need them to be supportive of your decision, because you're going to want people to share your successes with when you have them, but you're also going to want people that can pick you up when you have some struggles, because you better believe you'll have some of those along the way. The fifth is passion. You need to be in it for the right reasons, not just for the money. You need to be doing it because you love it. And then the sixth the one we hope we never have to use, but you have to think about it, is a backup plan. Backup plan meaning a way to make some money if trading doesn't work out. Alright, and that was it. Like I said, that was the only question here, but it was a good question, so hope you guys got something out of that. This will be posted to YouTube also by the end of the night for you to review again. Any questions on this topic? Anything you guys want to discuss further relative to this? That's a good question. If I could do it again, would you drop out like you did? Yes, I would definitely drop out like I did, simply because school just wasn't for me. I'm convinced it never was. I mean, if you knew me in high school, junior high, I was kind of the goof-off class clown. But I don't know if I would have went into trading as heavily as I did. I think I might have stuck with refereeing a little bit longer and taken a more passive approach to trading, and not gone in feet first, or head first, maybe dip my feet in, maybe continued to passively get into the market. Because when I dropped out, it was like I called my mom and I was like, yes, so I'm just taking a semester off because I'm failing these 2 classes and I don't want you to waste your money. And then the next day I woke up and I was at the computer and I was trading, and that's it. I just kind of dove into it. So if I could do it all over again, I would have taken a more conservative approach, because I think ultimately that would have helped me avoid those 2 big losses that really set me back, that I've had to battle back from overall. But that's the only thing. One thing I debated including in here that I didn't was a timeline for when you want to see success by. And the reason I didn't include that is because I'd never want anybody to tell me when to give up. So I'm not going to tell you when to give up. Just in case you guys were wondering. Would I say that these 6 factors contributed to me starting Watchhimtrade? I started Watchhimtrade for one main reason. I wanted to get better at trading. And I was starting to record some of my trading because I wanted to watch it. I read a book called One Good Trade, and one of the things it said is that they record all of their traders. It's a prop shop. It's a book written by a guy who runs a prop shop. And one of the things he talks about is he records all of his traders so that they can watch their footage. And I thought to myself, geez, I could do that. And then one day in chat I was like, hey, would you guys pay to watch the trades I'm doing? So I'm not going to say that these 6 factors contributed to me starting Watchhimtrade. The main reason is I felt like a website like this could really help me get better as a trader. And it's that passion, and I had I had displayed ability, and I felt like maybe if I was recording all my trading and if I was doing it in front of people, that maybe that would go a further way in helping me display even more ability to myself. Actually, the more I talk about it, the more I feel that maybe you're right. Maybe these 6 factors did, because the support system, I kind of wanted a support system of people. And I guess it is kind of a backup plan because it creates some type of supplemental income from subscriptions, but personally I don't think if I'm not making any money trading, then nobody's going to stay subscribed. So I don't know that I'd say that. But I would hope that someone like Una, who's been here for probably a year now, I would hope that he would say, when he thinks back to me trading last summer compared to this summer, that he says, yeah, Kevin's definitely gotten better as a trader. And if he says something like that, then that's the reason I started watching trade, and it's been a success as far as I'm concerned, and I just want to keep having it be a success. Yeah, Una joined just when I blew up my account. Man, I tell you, blowing up the account in April, I've mentioned before in previous webinars, April 2013, that took me a good 6 months, I would say, just to wrap my head around the mental aspect of that. Any other questions relative to this? Alright, I got a new book for you guys that I'd recommend reading. I just started it and I can't put it down. It's really good. It's called The Fear Project. Check it out. I just bought it on Amazon. But I am reading it because I think one of the things that's holding me back right now is fear when I'm in good trades. Alright, so there's the obvious type of fear when it comes to trading, right? I mean, you're scared to lose money. Personally, I don't feel like that is a big detriment to me right now. I feel like I'm kind of past that fear of losing money. And what I feel like is holding me back right now is fear of losing the money that I've currently made, which to me is kind of different than a fear of losing money. Fear of losing money is you're at the flat line and your position starts to go down, so you sell. The fear I'm talking about is you're up 30%, you're right about what's happening with the trade, but you still sell because you're fearful of it going from 30 back down to 20% or so. So I'm reading this book because I feel like it'll help me understand where fear comes from in our brains. It focuses on a lot of neuroscience, and I don't like reading trading books because I feel like anybody who's trading is already reading them, so what good is it really going to do? This is a book that's written by a professional surfer, and he talks about, he wrote it because of some of his fears of surfing and just the waters he surfed in and the trips he's taken, the adventures he's had, the relationships he's had, so on and so forth. So check it out if you're like me and trying to kind of overcome that hurdle of not letting fear restrict a good decision from turning into a great decision. Because I feel like personally I make a lot of good decisions these days, but they fall short of becoming great decisions because I get scared of something and I don't know what it is. So I want to find out and try and get better that way. Alright guys, again, this was recorded. I'll have it posted shortly. It'll download right now and then I'll upload it. I will see you tomorrow morning. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good rest of your night.